Today we're getting electrical put in, so as you can see, we're running some wire,
which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at
fishing where everything's at. But
radio.
should have all the electrical done today and kind of go from there. But things we gotta do to move the switches, we gotta cut a big hole here to get those to move over, do a junction box on the back side of the closet, be a sconce that goes there, gonna put a fit vent in there. And then we're running the wires there as well. Got our new square from these guys. And this plywood piece is 22 inches, but we got a 24-inch square, so easily to cut that off. And then you can get your logo engraved on it if you want. So, but it comes in handy. Hanging plywood on this now, so then we can get that all plywood. Electrician did their thing. Once we get it plywood, then the floor goes right on top of that plywood. We have a piece of butt board here that we add in. We have this up here so we can slip it right in, and this third arm will hold it, and then we can, only two of us, so then we can get that added in there. So we did drywall today, and this is gonna get plywood because we're gonna wrap this in some wood flooring to match the kitchen, but kind of the day, got this all done. I didn't have stretch board, so this is 9 foot. So what we do a lot is we do a 4 foot, 4 foot, and then we have a belly band here, so then they can just float out one area. I've seen people do it down here, but then if you float that out, the baseboard gets funny. If you do it up here, if you do crown molding, that gets funny. So we always do it right down the middle. And that's what that looks like. So this is the future office. So we got that all done. Lots of screws when you do drywall. Got the patches done. Electrician had to cut some trenches, so got this all patched up. Out here in this room, we got this filled in because we're gonna have a beam coming here, decorative beam, another one there, and then one over here. So had to fill that up. This is our water leak wall. Obviously we need a window still. They're coming Thursday to tear off all the siding and get this all patched in. And then we'll drywall this. This all gets brick. So the drywall guys, we're gonna start taping tomorrow, so we don't have to worry about getting this taped. It's all gonna get covered up with a big system of brick, thin brick. This is all gonna get brick too, and then brick all the way across there. So it will look good, and that's the plan. So this will look totally different Thursday. It'll get all fresh and new, but this is kind of the look. We'll have to put a fit vent there for the return air, so that'll be in the brick floor. This is everything. The wall's still up. Come out to here. We got our plywood soffit. So this all get wrapped in wood flooring as well. And then this is all brick back here, brick backsplash. So start laying the grid system tomorrow. And then here, detail, this casing will come off. And what we'll do is we'll just have a real thin strip, 3/4 by 1 inch for here, and then the brick will butt into it. So I'll show you more detail on that eventually. But this gets all brick here, all brick all the way around. So, but that's what that looks like. All plywood, so we can nail the flooring to it. If it was drywall, we can't really nail flooring to it. We could glue it on there, but I'm probably gonna run some nails, some staples in the flooring on the tongue. But that's what that looks like. So coming together, looking good. Out here today cutting some plywood, and if you've never looked these guys up, they sell a kit, template and everything. They're called Jackass Sawhorses. And so check these out. They have these hooks here for your saw, stored underneath. You can do that. They're attached by these two hinges here, and then the rope down below. But yeah, check them out. This is what we use all the time to cut. They fold up nice and flat and easy to transport. So we use that for all our plywood and siding needs and anything else that we have. We use these, but definitely a bonus to have. We have 6 or 7 of these, and we use them up. So yeah, check them out. I'll put a little link below. We're gonna get started laying the Speedy Mason grid, and we're gonna line it up with the countertop. So we have a full brick here with the countertop, and then it's gonna go all the way across, same level. So then if you're looking at this wall, you'll see it kind of goes the same way. So that'll be all the way up, and then whatever we have down, we'll have a cut piece probably on the bottom. But I figured that's going to be the best solution, is line up there so you have a nice full brick there, and then whatever we got going on here, it'll all lead to the rest. But yeah, started on that, so hopefully get the grid up in this area and kind of work my way around. So putting up the Speedy Mason panel, and this is what it looks like. So you want to find your studs here, and then you put the screw right through this point. So you don't put it in the field because the brick will go there. So they recommend putting it right through there. So that's how that works. And then I put adhesive on the back just to hold it in place, because sometimes you don't have studs on the end. So I just do adhesive to give it an extra little bit, and especially here too, like it's not ending on a stud. So we always just put adhesive on there so we don't have to, waste it and cut it back here and then piece it another one. So we just make sure it's adhesive and it's all good to go. But I'll add some more there. I have the laser set up, so this is all hits, and then the brick just goes right here on this track system, and go from there. And then you space it out whatever distance you want, but this gives it about a 3/8 from here to here. So, but simple. And then we have a grout joint here that will caulk in along the countertop. That's what that looks like, and we'll continue on. So we put adhesive on the back like this, and this is what we got installed so far. So the sheets come 48 inches. It does take a little prep, but it just takes out from using the spacers on everything. So once this track system is in, yes, it's a little bit more added expense. I could have just started brick and started laying brick, but you have to put spacers in between each one if you don't have the proper kind of mortar. So it's just so much quicker to get this track system on. And then when we start laying the brick, we just put a little bit on the back side of the brick and then stick them on this mat system, and then everything's pre-spaced going up and down. We just have to space it side to side. So it does take a little extra time and a lot of drywall screws, but it just makes the process a lot simpler. Once we get the track up, this will go really quick. So we got all the grid up everywhere, up top, down below. So we can start laying the brick eventually. We're gonna get all the grid up everywhere first and then figure that out. But progress, this is self-sticking, so it sticks there. So they have this paper on there. Just pull that paper off, and then we can start putting the brick up. So one nice thing about that, I put some mortar behind that. I don't rely on the self-stick 100%. So, but that's kind of the Speedy Mason system. So it's a little bit of prep work to get this all done, but it's good to go. And then all you got to do is just set it right on this track and good to go. That's your line. So, and then space out the brick. But we'll have brick over here, so we're gonna take off that casing tomorrow, get that grid system up, and then grid system around the corner. We are back at the brick job and first floor remodel here. You still got the ceiling. Wood floor comes in sometime this week, I believe. So hopefully get started on that after we get the brick done. But this is the start of it. Drywall guys finished yesterday, so we didn't come in while they were sanding. But we have all this to do. Hopefully we'll get most of it laid this week. You can take a tour. This was all filled in here before, and you might be able to tell drywall guys having a good drywall taper is key, and how good that blends in. Obviously the color of the mud's different from 5 years ago, so we'll have to paint most of this area. But that is how that looks. That used to be a recessed area, all filled in. And then back here, we got the kitchen soffit. Got the friendly dog. And then here, we walk in. Here is all the brick we have to lay. Have a fit vent, so we'll just brick around that and brick this as well. We'll power grab the brick onto there so it all blends in. These are all the bookcases going everywhere. The window that's coming in another week or two. And I ordered that window after the fact because I wanted to make sure that we didn't run into anything structural or anything crazy. So we started the project, then we tried to get this done as quick as possible, so then we ordered the window. So I've had instances where, you know, we ordered the window before and then opening we had to make differently or ran into issues. So always good to hold off on stuff like that. Here's this other soffit, get wrapped in wood. Here's the station, cut station. So I have the IQ power tools. This works really good to cut this brick inside instead of using a wet saw. This is your money maker here to cut thin brick. And we have more thin brick over there, ready to go. And our dust wall up and everything, so come along. This is the office as well. So this all get filled in with office stuff and we should be good. Carpet in here. And then we got to figure out if we're doing the brick here. We had to tear up a lot of their floor over here, and not for sure if we're going to have to replace this whole section or not. But not for sure we have enough to piece in over there. So we'll find out. But there it is, looking good, and come along. Working on the outside corner today, and it's full, half, and then you have a whole bunch more cuts here. So getting that done. I have a laser here. If you've never invested in a laser, this is a 3-point laser. That's 3 directions, top, side, and side. But it's worth getting one because you always want to make sure these corners are nice and straight. And what I do here on thin brick, they do make outside corners, but they're twice as much. So I've had good success by just putting a little gap in here and then just grouting it in. It still looks good. So it helps save cost to the customer. And I think it looks just as good doing it this way. I'll stop 1 row shy of the top up there. And before we do the wood floor on the ceiling, once we do that, and then the brick can cover up if there's a little gap or discrepancy from the wood floor to the wall there. And that's kind of how it looks. I overlap them this way, so when you're walking in, you don't see that joint, so they're overlapped. So that's how I do it. But a lot of cuts today, nice, slow and steady, but kind of make it happen. And then here, I got all the cuts underneath completed. So that's all done. And working my way up. I do have to notch this into the wall and then drop that down and out where the rain chute is at. So that will get done hopefully tomorrow. And then I can finish all that once this wire's moved and drop down the wall. So, but come along, looking good. Obviously here, I'll stop 1 row shy too until the ceiling's up. But yeah, just working on that outside corner. A little tip there, make sure you have that laser set up. And that's self-leveling, so that laser will shoot and it'll self-level along that corner, so it's nice and straight. So, brick day number 4. So I'm continuing on with this. I gotta cut some little ones in there, but kind of just doing as I go so you can kind of see the look. This trim around here will get painted dark. And then the ceiling, obviously I'm gonna leave the top row off so the ceiling can tuck in there and then cover up with brick. A cleaner look, and then kind of just started stair-stepping and working my way through. So hopefully get over to this. This is just the blue covering, so that just peels up right off. It helps protect the self-sticking stuff that we don't use because we put mortar behind all the tile. And then get into here hopefully tomorrow. So that'll be the plan, to get into here, and hopefully tomorrow, depending, I'll get some of this done. And then Friday, get everything here. And then we got a stair step back for the window. So we'll just get some done around here and probably leave this section off till the cabinets go in. So we'll get that all kind of figured out. But yeah, we're gonna brick this whole thing first, and then the cabinets will get kind of scribed. It's pretty flat brick, so it's not gonna be crazy scribed for the cabinet guy, and he's aware of that. So we're gonna do this all first. Otherwise, with these shelves, we'd have to make probably over 500-600 cuts of little pieces in and out. So it's kind of a pain. So bricking the whole thing first, and then we'll grout it and then go over the top. So, but there we go. So come along. Day 4 brick. More to happen. So, and the grouting is the worst part. That's probably your left or right arm, whatever one you grout with is the one that's going to get burnt out pretty quick. So, but grouting will take a good week to grout it all. Another day of bricking. So you can see behind me, we have the grid system up. This paper just peels right off, so that just comes right off of there. But got the brick started on the corner. I cut 45s on all these and with the little gap, and I'll be able to show you that. But yeah, continuing on, and window should be in a couple weeks, which is good. And then the pocket door behind me will also be in, so we'll making progress and go from there. But yeah, just getting all the brick done, and then grout probably in a week and a half, because that takes a week to get in the grout. Had to order 30 bags of grout, so lots of grout happening. So yeah, but yeah, just making progress and getting there slowly but surely, one brick at a time. So day 5, this is the brick that we got started. A ton of cuts here to make that corner work. Brick's going down to the floor, so we got one more little row here to put. And then there's cabinets that are gonna recess into here. And then a bookcase all the way up. And we have some beams going in here, 1, 2, and 3 beams. But that's kind of the layout we're going with and everything else. So use the laser to get this nice and straight. Left a gap there to grout in, so that'll all get grouted in. This is gonna get brick on top of that, so see that coming as well. But I'm gonna have my son take over tomorrow, and he's gonna get this wrapped up. And then I left him off at a good spot, and I'll help him out along the way a little bit, and then he'll be on his own just to get this little area done. So it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward, this area. So give him a shot to prove himself and go from there. Yeah, looking good. That's it for now. Please like and subscribe, and appreciate everyone that is following along. Stay tuned for more updates on this project as we continue with the brick and start